Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Cooking for the Family. I'm Dyvonne and today I'm going to share with y'all how I make my chicken parmesan dinner. I don't have a lot of time tonight. I'm going to make a quick dinner and then head out the door, and the family's going to come in. Everyone's got different schedules today, and so I'm going to share with you how I whip this up. I've got about an hour and 20 minutes to get dinner together and also head out the door. So these are the ingredients we're going to be using. Are you ready? Let's get started. So first what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick egg wash that's going to be going on our chicken. This is going to help our breading, our seasoning that we have, to stick to our chicken. And I'm using 2 large eggs, but if you have 2 medium eggs, that'll work fine too. And I'm going to be using my cake pan to put our Italian breadcrumbs, and these are the breadcrumbs that we're using. And I'm going to share with you a little secret as to, if you don't have breadcrumbs, what you can use in lieu of using the breadcrumbs. And so in my pan, I'm going to put about 1.5 cups of the Italian breadcrumbs, and then you want to make sure that the breadcrumbs are all over the bottom. You don't want to leave any open spaces. Now for our seasoning, I'm keeping the seasoning very simple. We're going to be using some kosher salt, and I'm also going to be using some black pepper. Now the kosher salt, I put in about 1.5 teaspoons in kosher salt and about 1/8 of a teaspoon of the black coarse pepper. If you want a little bit more pepper, you can definitely bump that up to about 1/4 of a teaspoon if you like. So what I do is I have my 3 large chicken breasts, and what I do is I rinse my chicken breast really good in cold water, and then I slice my chicken breast lengthwise or vertical. I went on and sliced them, and I got 6 pieces out of that. So this recipe is going to be enough to feed 6 people or 3 very hungry people, but it's going to be plenty to feed. And you can actually, with this recipe, if you want to make more, make a bigger portion, you can definitely go on and add another chicken breast to get 8 pieces. So what I did was I went on and I seasoned both sides of the chicken breast with our salt and pepper. Then I dipped it in my shallow pan of my egg wash. Then I dipped that in my Italian breadcrumbs, and then I go on and I repeat this action by dipping back and forth, moving really around the chicken breast. And you want to make sure that you let it drip, any excess egg, let it drip, and then you put it in the breadcrumbs, and then I just move them around just like that, and I sprinkle some on top, and be sure to get the sides. Now what I also like to do is I always have my wet hand that I'm working with and my dry hand, so that way we don't end up building up a bunch of stickiness on one hand or the other. So I always want to keep my one hand is working with my egg mixture and my other hand is working with my breadcrumbs. Be sure that you want to shake off any of the excess breadcrumbs back into the pan as you continue to dip, and then just go back and forth like this. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome in, and if you're a returner, welcome back. My name is Dyvonne, and this is my channel, Cooking for the Family. And on my channel, I love to share with y'all what I cook and bake for my family in my kitchen, sharing the ins and outs of recipes and cooking and baking. I feel like it's a common ground that's relatable to most people, and so I invite you not to be a stranger and come back and visit me and my channel again. Also, with your eggs, you want to make sure that you whip them very well when you're starting to do your egg wash. Now our chicken is nice and ready. What we're going to do is we're going to set it in the refrigerator for about 10 minutes, so that way our breadcrumbs really adhere to our chicken breast. Now while our chicken breasts are resting in the fridge, we're going to get started on our spaghetti noodles. So in my pot of boiling water, I put a little bit of salt, and I'm using kosher salt, and I put just about a teaspoon. You could put a little bit more if you'd like, but about a teaspoon is what I usually like to use. We're using 1 pound of spaghetti, and this is going to be enough. Like I mentioned before, this is going to be enough for about 6 people to eat. You can definitely, because we had a little bit of egg left over, you can definitely add a 4th chicken breast, slice that lengthwise as well, the vertical, and go on and bread it, and you end up having enough for 2 more people. And if you just want to make dinner for 2 or 3 people, you can definitely cut the recipe in half as well. So in my pan, I've put 1/2 cup of extra virgin olive oil. When my oil is nice and hot, I go on and I add in my chicken breast. Right now I have my flame on a medium-high heat, And once my chicken breast starts to slightly get a golden color around the edges is when I check the bottoms, and then we're going to go on and flip them. Now, if you don't have extra virgin olive oil, you can use regular vegetable oil as well. You just want to put a little bit in the pan. I like using the olive oil because of the additional flavor that it gives to the chicken for this dish. Now, but if you don't have olive oil on hand, you can definitely use the vegetable oil. So once our chicken is looking like this, you want to go on and give it a nice flip, and it's going to be a beautiful golden brown to a deep golden brown color. That's what you're going to be looking for. And we're also going to cook our chicken until we feel that it's no longer soft. You don't want it to be soft. You want it to be firm. When your chicken is firm, that is when you know that your chicken is done, okay, in the middle. Now we're going to cook our chicken. It's going to be about 98% done. That little extra 2%, that's going to finish up in our sauce, and that's going to keep our chicken nice and moist, and it's going to keep our chicken from drying out. Now in the description box below, I will have a list of all the ingredients you need to make this wonderful, quick and easy chicken parmesan dinner in a snap for your family. And so we're going to go on and cook this on this side. Now also something that I like to do is that I try not to flip the chicken back and forth too much. One thing is that you can end up losing some of the breading off of your chicken, flipping it a lot. The other thing also is that your chicken will tend to dry out and get tough if you flip it back and forth, back and forth. So try to avoid that by letting it cook on that first side, having it get nice and golden around the edges. When it's nice and golden around the edges, then you go on and you do that flip, okay? And so just try not to flip it too much back and forth, because like I said, it'll tend to toughen up the chicken, and we don't want to do that. So our chicken is looking good. We're going to go on and take it out. We're going to go on and also finish up cooking our other pieces of chicken. Now when I take my chicken out, I go in and I put it on a napkin like this, a double napkin, and I let it drain any of the excess olive oil off of it. Our chicken breast is looking so good. Our dinner is really coming together. It's getting time for me to leave the house pretty soon. So I'm going to go on and finish up the rest of the pieces of the chicken, and I'm going to share with you how I do my sauce. So once I've cooked the last of the chicken and that's come out of my skillet, what I do next is that I discard what's left in the skillet. We're going to go on and I clean the skillet out real quick, and then I add my sauce. And so you can use whatever sauce that your family really likes or prefers. This is the one that I like to use in particular. I'm going to be using 2 jars, and it's going to be plenty for this dish with some left over for lunches for tomorrow. So once we have our sauce in our pan, I go on and I crank the heat up because we want to start to go on and simmer our sauce and get it nice and hot. I'm going to put the top on my pan, and while my sauce is getting hot, I'm going to share with you what you can do if you don't have any Italian breadcrumbs on hand. So these are the Italian breadcrumbs that I've been using for the recipe. Now in a pinch, this is what I've done before, y'all. I've used some croutons. These are the butter and garlic croutons, or you can use the herb. I usually prefer the herb if I can find them in the store, but they have like the herb or the herb and garlic croutons. What you want to do is you want to get about 1 to 2 cups, depending on how many chicken breasts that you're going to be using, but about 2 cups of croutons. You take your croutons, you put them in a freezer bag like this, and I just put all my croutons in there if I'm using 1 cup or 2 cups. And so for this recipe, you definitely would want to have 2 cups. You put your croutons in the freezer bag, and then you just go ahead and you take a rolling pin, you roll and you mash them, and you turn them into crumbs. And those crumbs are what you use to coat your chicken breast for your chicken parmesan if you don't have any Italian breadcrumbs on hand. Well, our sauce is now nice and simmering. We're going to add our chicken directly into our pan. I have my flame is still on a nice medium high heat. We're going to make sure that our sauce is going to be nice and hot. And once I have my chicken in my pan, we're going to put some mozzarella cheese on top. Now with the mozzarella cheese, you can use the thin slice of deli mozzarella cheese that I'm using today, or you can use the grated mozzarella cheese, or you can hand grate your cheese. Either one of those work just fine. I find that the deli slices and the mozzarella that you hand grate melt better than the one that's in the bag. The mozzarella cheese in the bag doesn't melt as well. And so, of course, this is chicken Parmesan, so we've got to put a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top as well. I'm using some shredded Parmesan cheese, and I'm just putting on about 1/3 of a cup. Just sprinkle all over the top like that. To finish it off, I'm using some dried parsley flakes, and this is the parsley flakes are optional, but I really find that it finishes off our chicken Parmesan quite nicely. So we let our chicken simmer for just 5 minutes more, and this is what it's looking like. It looks so good. Now it is time to serve us up some. Our cheese has melted so nicely. I've served us up some spaghetti, and with the spaghetti you can use either penne pasta if you like. I'm using spaghetti noodles. You can also use angel hair pasta. Any of those 3 pastas will work just fine and accompany the chicken Parmesan. So once I've served us up some, we've got to go on and give it a quick try. And tonight for dinner, I'm going to pair this with a nice Caesar salad. You can also make yourself a nice garden salad if you like, or some fresh broccoli. Some nice fresh sauteed or steamed broccoli goes great with this meal as well. Some garlic bread would also just be so great with this nice dinner. So let's go on and put some spaghetti on our fork. I'm going to go on and get us a piece of chicken that I cut right there for us. This first bite right there, that's for y'all. Go ahead and take your bite. Okay, I'm going to take my bite and see how we did tonight for dinner. Our chicken stayed nice and moist. It is saucy. It is tender. We made some chicken Parmesan cheesy goodness. Well, that is it for me today, y'all. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I invite you to hit that subscribe button. It's free. If you like this video, don't forget to show it some love. Give it a thumbs up and click share. Share this video with a friend or family. And remember, it's always good when Dyvonne is cooking for the family. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.